Live tonight from the Talladega Super Speedway, it is VIDANE Racing live on LSRTV. The VIDANE Racing Rent-A-Race-Car Super Speedway Series Race 4 of 12, the RARChevette Productions 175 at Talladega. Out in the Gen 6 cars tonight for 66 laps at this 2.66 mile per lap racetrack for 175 miles before we reach the distance. Myself, Evan Pasoko, going to be joined up in a broadcast booth tonight by Rents Brown and our typical other commentator here, Rents PDJ Zeller. He's going to be in the race tonight, and he'll be doing the double tonight on LSRTV with both Vidane and I Super Speedway, so we'll have to keep a watchful eye to see what PD is going to be doing here tonight. He will also be our in-race reporter. But Rents, we roll into Talladega. Talladega is always a racetrack that's so exciting here. We've seen one great finish so far this year at this track, and we look forward to another one out in the Cup cars tonight.
Yeah, that is true here. Thank you guys for welcoming me back into the race broadcast booth for tonight. Talladega is going to be one of those tracks, especially with the Gen 6 cars, are going much faster than what we had to go through with the nationwide cars that we were here with just 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. So the speeds are going to be up, and one of the things that's going to be interesting is the left rear quarter panel when they're bump drafting each other. That's going to be the big thing. The bumper hook is real tonight, Evan.
And that's something that these guys are going to have to watch when they get in the corner. You get up on somebody's back bumper, and even if you're centered, that thing may just hook around on you, and that's when things can get pretty ugly. So that's going to have to be something that we'll keep in a watchful eye on tonight as well. Let's say that this 10-minute open qualifying session has been pretty NASCAR. We have seen 7 wide at points leaving pit road. These guys are still in huge packs. The ideal situation is to be in a 2-car tandem tucked up at the tail end of a pack and try to work your way through. So far, it is Logan Kress on pole position. Him and Alan Bowes are drafting with each other, trying to improve on their time. But this has been quite an exciting, one of the most wild practice sessions that I've seen. So far, 40 guys have been able to put down a time.
Yeah, that's true. They actually changed the setup from the practice session we had to qualify in to this race to where we are right now. So this is a brand new setup. They're trying a few different things this weekend, trying to cool down the engine just a little bit more. Drivers were saying last week and the previous weeks that they aren't really getting the cool air to the engine, so it's overheating faster, so you can't push as much, and the high line really isn't staying together. So that's going to be interesting to see how that's going to play into effect and how the tandems now will come into effect. The only thing that, again, we'll have to be concerned about is that left rear quarter panel.
Still just about a minute left in the qualifying session, and things are still getting pretty crazy as everybody tries to vie for whatever times they can get, whatever time they can make up here. And I mean, they're still bouncing off each other, really fighting for this at the moment. Going to give an update on some track facts here about the Talladega Super Speedway. This racetrack located in Talladega County, Alabama, with a capacity crowd of 80,000 fans can get in here on a race weekend. It's owned and operated by the International Speedway Corporation. Broke ground back in 1968, opened the following year in 1969 for a construction cost at that point of $4 million. And the tri-oval racetrack itself, an asphalt surface, 2.666 miles in length, 4 turns. Turns 1 and 2 banked at 33 degrees, and if we want to get really technical, turn 3 is banked at 32.4, turn 4 at 32.5. Not sure who decided to measure that and make that different. The tri-oval, almost a turn within itself, 16.5 degrees of banking. And again, the major story at Talladega is the fact that that start-finish line not located in the center of that tri-oval, so race results can change from the point where the start-finish line would be at Daytona to the point where it is here tonight. Qualifying just now coming to a close. Rents, this race is a little bit longer than the one that we went to at Daytona. A couple more laps, and with the racetrack being a little bit longer per lap, it's going to be 175 miles tonight. A little bit of a longer one. These guys want to try to hang on to their equipment a little bit, survive to the end, or do you think we see the crazy racing that we've seen these first 2 weeks right at the bat?
The racing we've seen here at Vidane for the first couple of weeks has just absolutely blown me away with how these guys can split the gap and go 3 wide, 4 wide at times. And the thing with Talladega compared to Daytona is you hit on it first, Evan, the start-finish line being past the pit road exit. The second thing that will be very interesting to see is the fact we have a whole nother lane at Talladega compared to Daytona, so which means you can get a little bit more spread out, a little bit more side by side than you would at Daytona. So that's going to be something to pay attention to, because once you come to Talladega, it's more or less a crapshoot because people have more room to put their cars.
And when you give a race car driver a little bit more room, even if it's not the most logical thing to do, they're going to try to make that move. And that's going to be something that we're going to have to watch for tonight, is how aggressive do these guys get right out of the gate here and on these first few laps. The field is set. The pace car is back out now. The grid is hitting that start-finish line in the front straightaway as qualifying has come to a close, and we are just about set for 66 laps of action here in Talladega, Alabama. So we're getting ready down through the starting grid, presented by tonight's title sponsor, RARChevette Productions. Pole position, no change from what I mentioned, the guys that were up there provisionally. The draft between Logan Kress and Alan Bowes are going to make up the top two spots. The 38 is on pole. That's going to be a time of a 47.212 for Kress, and then again, Alan Bowes is going to be qualifying right next to him in P2.
In the second row will be the number 08 of Jonathan Goke and the number 55 of Joe Branch, rounding out that second row.
Logan Clampett going to be occupying P5 at his number 44 machine, and Stephen O'Rourke going to be starting in 6th.
Justin Fuller starting in 7th in the 51, and Nick Lancaster in the number 33 in 8th.
Dustin Lee going to start on the inside of row number 5. He will be in the number 9 position. 10th place to Ian Plash.
11th place, the number 25 of Steve Bonesteel, and the 67 of Dennis Pavel in 12th.
Trey Eidson going to be starting in the unlucky or lucky number 13 starting position on the inside of this next row, and 14th position alongside him, the 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. That's going to be Ryan Hunt.
In the 15th spot belongs to the number 36 of Justin Bolton, and the number 181 of Alec Karen in the 16th spot.
A winner this season, the number 8 of Adam Gillen's going to be starting P17. He is driving his variation of that 2015 Dale Earnhardt Jr. Kelly Blue Book entry, so he'll be back in 17th position alongside him. Brandon E. Williams going to be in 18th.
The number 1 of Ryan Wells will start in the 19th spot, in the number 230 of Ryan Manning in the number 20.
Seth the Merchant going to be starting tonight in P21. He missed last week in a 933 machine, and Sam Adams going to be starting in 22nd.
And the number 09, Bryce Sesnick in the 23rd spot, and 24th starting position belongs to Alex Monteferrante.
Nick Del Campo going to be 25th, and 26th to Damon Gilbert.
We have Daniel Demetrius in the 11 car starting 27th. And the 77 of Houston Hammer in 28th.
Justin Knobloch, 29th, 30th position to Zach Johnson.
Daniel Roper in the 31st. In the 17, Craig Hawkins in 32nd.
Dalton England going to be 33rd, 34th. The Carson G. Giamatomaso. Ooh, whoa, whoa. Karsten D. Giantomaso? Why do the race car drivers have to get the hardest names? He'll be starting 34th.
Trevor Perry and Paul Strickland Jr. are 35th and 36th.
Ryan Bliss, 37th, and Petey Zeller going to be 38th.
The 57 of Derek Colson, 39th, and William Tex Perry in the 40th spot.
And the field now rounding at a quarter number 4. It is a 41-car field here tonight, as 41 cars do take a time, so the drivers that are going to be going in on those provisionals at the back are going to be Jarrett Bulliard and Fima. Top 41 did qualify in on times in that opening 10-minute qualifier session, and we get set for some more racing. Tonight, the Talladega Super Speedway. Glad to have you with us on LSRTV, and it is going to be Logan Kress, who starts from the top position. His Amp Energy Diet Mountain Dew Chevrolet takes the green flag. We are underway, and it is going to be the inside with that advantage. Alan Bowes going to slide back a car link. Going to keep it on to see if that 38 to 37 try to get hooked up here at all in these opening stages, as those guys are known to work together up front.
2 by 2 into turn number 2. The 67 getting a little squirrely entering turn number 2, tries to drop down low in the bottom lane. The bottom line is always the one that seems to be preferred at the super speedways. It is also the fastest and quickest way around the track because it's the shorter distance. But the high line with Alan Bowes is still holding strong. They're 2 by 2 into turn number 3. The 37 by car length entering 3 and 4.
And it is that 38 of Logan Kress on the inside. Looked like he may have tried to check up to allow the 37 of Alan Bowes to get down in front of him. Logan Clampett does not like that, the number 44 car. letting them know over the radio that 44 machine is going to be 6th this time by the start-finish line. The top 4 cars trying to break off into some sets of tandems, but as we were talking about here earlier, and these guys have had some difficulties keeping these engine temperatures down, so you really can't push for a lot of time before you either have to back off, step out. Oh, 38's almost get turned. That's the hook that we were talking about right there. And Logan Cress, no crazy movement on behalf of Jonathan Gokin, just got sideways. He hangs on. That's going to force the 3 wide, but nonetheless, Logan Cress going to drop back to around where that number 36 machine is, just outside the top 10.
Logan Cress went from leading all the way down to about the mid-pack. That's what happens when you bump draft on that left rear quarter panel. Just the air gets displaced, and then you just go for a wild ride. The admins giving a nod to Logan Cress and all the drivers for missing that, and not making sure we end up in a giant parking lot in the back stretches. Right now, your leader in the front of the pack is Alan Bowes.
They all keep them going right now, but it's not to say that we haven't had some contact. We are still 3-4 wide back in that middle portion of the pack, right around P15, where you see these drivers. The number 8 car is there. That's Adam Gilland. He went and made a 3 wide move to get up to that point, but and now caution, we got trouble on the racetrack. Somebody's wrecking in the back.
Yeah, it looked like we had a wreck with the 13 or so. It was one of the Dogecoin cars back on the back stretch, got turned, hooked in the right rear, and sent into the outside wall. Tough break to start the day, but that's the byproduct of bump drafting all on the line. You're so tightly bunched together that anything can happen here at Talladega.
And replay goes live now. That's Trevor Perry, and I mean, we saw it in the corner, and he just got hooked on a straightaway. There was a little bit of a checkup because that 11 was in front of him, but a 17 got up to the back bumper, moved to the right, and I mean, just that slight contact turned that 15 car right around. He did make some slight contact with the number 49 of Brian Bliss, and then Perry went down low. He caught the number 34 car, who's going to get involved in this one as well. And then the caution flag obviously flying from those 2 cars making contact. The 7 of Jarrett Bolliard went all the way to the apron to try to avoid that one. And this is going to slow us down for our first caution of the night. And I mean, the only reason I can't say things were a lot calmer up front than typical, because the only reason we were single file is because the leader nearly got turned, went to the apron. Again, a great piece of driving, as you said. The admins giving a little bit of props there to our pole sitter, Logan Cress, who's now going to drop back to P8 on that one. Still within a easily recoverable position. We do have a couple of drivers talking to each other over the radio, not happy with the way some of the racing went down there mid-pack on that first start of the race. Other than that, everything looked pretty good from here. That bumper grab, though, it was very interesting to see. How about this? Quite a couple takers on pit road. The 48, the 3651 car, the 8 going to be down pit road as well. Del Campo is there. Monteferranti on pit road also. So a couple of guys going to be coming in towards the tail end of this pack.
Yeah, they're going to try to get some fuel in the car early, and let's just see how this goes. I mean, we're only 4 laps, 5 laps into this event. I think what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to get to the back of the pack and just ride. As you said, this is one of the longer races that we're going to have in the season. Talladega adds just for a little bit longer of a distance than Daytona does, so that means why not ride in the back for a bit? Stay within the draft. The one thing, I was out there a little earlier today, Evan, riding around trying to get a feel for the setup. If you're that final car in that draft, there's a great chance that you could lose it. So just, you want to stay safe. You want to kind of keep it cordial out there, but at the same time, you don't want to lose the draft completely.
That's going to be the key. And again, the 2-car tandem is equally as important, but you cannot forget, just being in that main draft, that lead pack. This draft model here, that these Gen 6 cars is a very interesting one, ever so changing. And obviously these guys are running a setup that has been established for all the guys. It's been modified, as we're told, that we spoke on at the top of the broadcast. They're just a little bit tweaked for tonight's event. Again, 66 laps, so we were doing just about 60, I believe it was, last week at Daytona. Daytona being a shorter track just by a little bit, so obviously tonight's race is a little bit longer. The next race that we will have on LSRTV with the VIDANE Racing Series Season 7, powered by iRacing.com, is going to be in a week's time, same place, on the November the 21st. That's going to be the CSTRA 175 at Daytona, and that's going to be a race at Daytona where we jack up the laps to 70 in that one as well. So as the season starts to creep on, it appears the race length's getting just a little bit longer, excluding the big main event that we saw. Obviously, we broadcasted the duels here as well. Lights are off on the pace car, so that's going to get us set for a lap 7 restart, or if you already want to start count numbers, that's going to be 60 laps to go. When we get to that point, the only change up front that's major, I would say, Nick Lancaster's going to be second. He started 8th. Stephen O'Rourke, Logan Clampett, Joe Branch are going to make up the rest of that top 5. They all started 6th, 5th, and 4th. So those guys that started on the front row, things not looking too good for them early.
No, it's not, but then again, it's Talladega and Super Speedway racing. If we were at a place like Watkins Glen or heck, even Bristol, and you fall back down to 6th or even back down to 10th, you're going to have a pretty busy day trying to get back up to that lead. But with Talladega, it's all about methodical passing, knowing your runs, when to get your runs, how to use the car. That's going to be one of the main things, one of the big things here, especially with bump drafting here, Evan. Bump drafting adds a little damage to your nose, just a tiny bit. But that little damage could really make or break your race depending on your aerodynamics and how much you've been pushing. So you got to want to kind of keep everything together. So it should be interesting to see what the leaders do, as Alan Bowes is your leader, and see what people like the 55 with Joe Brancher, so on and so forth, do in the back. Do you ride, or do you try to get up to that lead and try to get out of harm's way?
Another thing that the damage could dictate it again, when these guys sit on one quick fix, so you get to come down pit road, get a brand new race car, get back out, you only get one of those. You cannot choose when you get that. So you come down pit road with just a little bit of damage, it could fix that thing, and then you can get in a big incident. It won't obviously repair it that next time as the pace car dives down to pit road right here. So we've also seen in the past some strategy played where there'll be guys that'll run around at the back with damage and then save that quick fix for later on in the race when they need it the most. So there's so many different ways that strategy can play into this. There's a lot of it that's luck of the draw. We're back underway. Good start on the outside by that number 3 machine up on the outside lane. That is Stephen O'Rourke. He's able to get even with that 37 of Alan Bowes. However, the inside lane now pushing Nick Lancaster to the back bumper. He's going to give that 37 some help through 1 and 2.
Yes, he is indeed. That 37 is being lined up right now with the 33 of Nick Lancaster, and Joe Branch following suit in that 55 Dogecoin machine. He's going to go down to the bottom with Jonathan Goke following suit. That high line is starting to lose the partners. Bottom line is starting to prevail just a little bit, as it is the 37 and 33 trying to rocket away as they're hitting the apron all sorts of different ways. This is one of those bottoming out setups through 3 and 4, and on the front stretch, Evan, they're coming back to you. The 3 car still staying strong on the high line.
We got some 3 wide going back around P20. A lot of drivers over the radio are letting everybody know to check up, but it is that outside charge by the number 3. Does Stephen O'Rourke leave that number 44 car? He'll stay true to him now. That is Logan Clampett, who's helping Stephen up there on the outside lane. That number 3 Chevrolet was clear of the lead car on the bottom, being the number 37 of Alan Bowes down at a 1. And we have seen times in the past where Stephen O'Rourke could have jumped down there. We've seen people do it before, but that would have left that 44 car out to dry. And at Talladega, there's a point where you say, you know, you want to stay loyal to somebody because you're hoping that they'll help you out later in the race, or somebody will pay that favor back to you. At the same time, don't expect these people to stay so formal with their teammates later on in the going. But for now, that 3 car does stay up high, and he can continue to be pushed by that number 44. The 19 is creeping up as well on the outside lane. That's Sam Adams in the DeWalt Toyota, but it is still going to be Alan Bowes that time by, leading another lap. We are double file all the way through the top 10. It is Ian Plash working with the number 38 machine of Logan Kress. So again, Kress started on pole position, nearly got turned, trying to make his way back up through the field. They make up the top 10. A little bit of a break back to the tail end of this lead lap where you see more to wind. That's around P20, P25 on back.
Yes, that is true. Drivers starting to tell their drivers a little bit here and there, hey man, you got to cut me some slack. This is, you know, we're still early in the event. As we see this pack, the high line is starting to really form back up again. The bottom is starting to lose their partners. One thing that we did touch up on just a little bit, Evan, is the driving partners and the fact that you got to have someone pushing behind you. But as we've seen for most of the season, drivers have left their partners to go take the race lead. So it should be interesting to see who stays loyal, as now the number 230 is all by himself. He's all by himself all the way up on the high line trying to make something happen. That's one of those things where You just got to pray if you're Ryan Manning that someone goes with you. Otherwise, you're just going to be left out to dry, and you're going to be in the back of the pack as we're side by side all the way through what looks to be about the top 15 as Stephen O'Rourke led that lap the last time by, and Alan Bose is quickly in hot pursuit right now on the bottom lane. This is just classic super speedway racing. You're 2 by 2. You got 3 wide in the back of this pack starting to calm down and fan out. But let's just see here how this high line progresses as the run goes on, as the 3 car is just staying right dead hooked to that right side of that number 37 car as Stephen O'Rourke leads again here on completing lap 10.
This lead pack sits about, I want to say, somewhere in the range of 16 cars strong. They really don't have a big gap that, you know, differentiates the lead pack from a secondary pack until you get about 28th on back. Those guys are looking at about 2+ seconds as a difference there. But the 37 and the 3 continue to lead up front. You were talking about that the outside lane, we're starting to get a little bit more help right now. They have more cars up there than they do on the bottom inside at the top 10. Somebody's trying to make it 3 wide out to the high side. Goes to 67 to Dennis Pavel. He was hoping maybe that 25 machine of Steve Bonesteel with him. That does not happen. 25 pulls back down in line, and now that 67 going to go backwards. No, 25 pulls up in front of him, and they're going to try to make this third lane work. However, by the time they get hooked up, they may be forced back to the middle. They're getting freight trained to 230. Oh, the 51 is going to get hit into the wall, and he's going to hang on. That's Justin Fuller. Huge contact for him. Damage on the number 67 as well. And it all started as that one machine pushed up just a little bit. Ryan Wells down in 1 and 2.
The wash up, we saw it go through 1 and 2, just the wash up a little bit. If you hit that apron just so much, the car gets offset and you're going to go straight towards the wall. You just have no control of the nose. Justin Fuller, just an innocent bystander. Hopefully he still got that one reset. But just a tough break for that number 51 car of Justin Fuller, the Monster Energy Toyota Camry. Great run going so far as we go back up to the front of the pack. Line change is the 3, as we saw before, was on the high line. He's now on the bottom. The 37 of Alan Bose is now on the high line. We are 3 wide behind them right now as Ian Plash is trying to make that outside work, but the middle group seems to have just about the amount of cars needed to really make that work as Alan Bose drops in front of O'Rourke, and he's going to go back to the point. No challenge necessary going through 3 and 4. Move the 37 back up to the point as a 44 moves up high, trying to get the 19 with him.
And I was going to say Ian Plash has something for those triple-digit cars, and now it's the guy that he was working with, the 230. That slow Plash going to get a shot to the door. Him and Seth the Merchant got some contact, and Seth took a look to the inside. He'll get back in behind that number 9 car, who's making things pretty interesting. The 19 machine of Sam Adams, and we just went from 3 forward wide to 2 wide throughout the field because things got real crazy going down into corners number 1 and 2. Everybody is able to catch their breath for a moment, but it was Ian Plash who was up there on high. He typically works with his teammates, Seth the Merchant, in the 933. He was working with another triple-digit car, that 230 of Ryan Manning up high, and that's where he got onto the back bumper of Sam Adams and has been pushing that DeWalt Toyota since then. But I mean, because of that, it seems like it's the crazy racing that is causing us to get spread out. When we say spread out, we say that with leniency because everybody's still fairly tightly packed together. Before you get a second away from the leader, you have to look back to about 19th position before you get that kind of an interval up here inside of these lead lap cars. But that 3 car has no help up high. That Stephen O'Rourke, he is up in front of Seth there, but I mean, that's about 1-2 car lengths back. And by the time he gets to him, those 2 cars on the inside and the 44 trying to do the same thing. Clamp it, trying to get clear as well as that outside slides back 2 car lengths down the back.
It's 1 car lengths too many, it seems, here at Talladega, where that 3 car was right on the 37's door going through 3 and 4 last time by coming to start finish line. Now this time by, he's just struggling to stay in second position. That bottom line's having the momentum. The 37 and the 38, Logan Kress is just pushing that 37 for all it's worth right now. He just wants to try to get gone and hopefully get single file because they want to kind of get into a rhythm, as everyone behind them, though, is making sure that's not going to happen at the moment. They are getting, there goes 32 on the apron. The 32 trying to save it. What a bump draft. It's a
25 at a wall now.
And now we're
Bone
spinning
cell,
it
there
high.
they go.
The 25, the 44, the 05, but they're all absolutely ridiculous.
Working on some technical difficulties here. We're going to step away for a commercial break. You're watching the VIDANE Racing Season 7 on LSRTV. More racing from Talladega on the other side.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Back live at the Talladega Super Speedway on LSRTV for the VIDANE Racing Series Season 7 on LSRTV, powered by iRacing.com. The Rent-A-Race Car Super Speedway Series Race 4 tonight, the RARChevette Productions 175 at Talladega. And working off of a caution flag, you took a look at the replay right now. Trouble in 1 and 2 caused a couple of cars to get up into the wall. The 25 of Bone Steel got some assistance into the outside wall, went back down to the inside, and about 7 cars immediately in that incident. So that has put us under the second caution of the race. We're getting set for this upcoming restart. Field is doubled up behind new race leader Brian Bliss. We had quite a bit of pit stops there under this most recent caution flag, and it's going to be Paul Strickland Jr. who will be back out to P2 on that front row. If you're just joining in again, we apologize for some technical difficulties here, but we are back live with Evan Pasoko, Rance Brown, PDJ Zeller, our typical broadcaster. He is in car tonight, and he is going to be our in-race reporter. We'll try to talk to him later on in the night, but Rance, we're getting set for another restart and starting to close the win on that 1/3 mark in this race. So we're going to have to see how these guys go at it. These first couple stints have been quite crazy mid-pack. We'll see how these guys take it as the pace car is off.
Pace car is off. He decides to get out of the way, leave it to the drivers. And the trial they go in the hands of Brian Bliss and Paul Strickland Jr. As the green flag flies, we're back underway here at Talladega. The 57 does not get a good start, and that stacks everyone else up behind him on the bottom. Give it to the first 4 or 5 guys on the high line. They get gone. They're going to get down in the bottom lane. Moving the 49, the 94, the 37. Alan Bose is back up. He's going to use the high line with a 3-car following suit. They're 3 wide behind them, though. That's where calamity will ensue off turn number 2.
That 57 just did not get going at all and allowed that outside lane to really just fly by the majority of those cars down on the bottom. Brian Bliss, who led that inside charge, was the control car on the restart. Now his company up high as 4 guys have gone to the top side. The 37 of Alan Bose working with that 3 of Stephen O'Rourke, and in the 924 as well. Now actually caution, trouble back in the pack. We got a couple guys, huge drag coming out of quarter number 4, the 51, the 09 car. A handful of guys in this one. Caution flag going to fly immediately, and something happened in quarter number 4 that got this thing all kicked off. That was a pretty big one. We had cars scattering, and it looks like one of those bumper hook, bumper turn scenarios with the 527 car being the first one that got sent around after he was working with the 61 machine.
Just one of those classic, comes off turn number 4 and just a little bit of damage. I mean, it was just a little bit of a hook. That's all it gave us, and from there on out, it was just mayhem. Justin Fuller, who you remember was involved in one of our earlier incidents that didn't bring out a caution, but he did hit the wall, is involved. The 09 of Brian Sesnick is also involved. Many guys that were towards the front of the pack originally before the caution flew the last time around found themselves about mid-pack, and it's almost inevitable at this super speedway. So yeah, as we're under the caution flag here on lap number 21, might as well, you know, pay some bills here at the VIDANE racing race today here at Talladega Super Speedway. As this is this Calamity Corner, as we call it here at Talladega, as the drivers are very, very angry with one another, but that's just what it is. The 11 car's got some damage as well. As Joe Branch goes around him in the 55, as they're all pitting the 48. Also, Ryan Hunt getting some damage as well. The 48 car, he hit the wall earlier in the race too. So let's pay some bills as drivers are coming down pit road. First of all, the VIDANE racing rent-a-race-car program and all of that cannot be done without the rent-a-race-car program. Race Average Speedway's Dare Stock division with the rent-a-race-car program at rentaracecarne.com. VIDANE Integrated Point System, iRacing League Management for leagues that matter. It's vidane.net/VIPs. Xlander Designs, websites, hero cards, prints, and all business needs. It's exlander.com. The sponsor of tonight's race, RARChevette. That's Ian Plash. For those of you who don't know, that is his production studios. For more on his editing and more videos, check out facebook.com/RARChevette. And L Technology Group, a USA-based cybersecurity provider for home and business. It's ltechnologygroup.com. And Evan, as we're back here under caution here at the Talladega Super Speedway, it just seems to be the inevitable, as we are just going as hard as we can now, trying to get to the lead. And the 3-wide situation really wasn't caused from people getting too out of hand. It was a stack-up that originally started it. But at some point, there's just nowhere to go. You can't really get away from people.
We roll into these super speedway races, and again, for those that may be new to VIDANE, welcome first off to LSRTV, but also, you know, you look at most leagues and they're going to have a NASCAR-styled schedule. You hit these plate tracks if you're running a full season 4 times, twice at Talladega, twice at Daytona. Most people will say, I'm just trying to survive that race. Now, when you go into a league where every single race is a super speedway, you got to figure out some sort of trick to it. And, you know, for as much of this race that's up in the air, how much it is being in the right place or at sometimes in the wrong place at the wrong time, there is strategy that goes into it. The 2-car tandem, hanging back, playing it safe, making some late race charges. There's a whole bunch of different factors that can roll into this. There's a lot of guys there that are back at the pack that got some damage from that last caution that were back there because, well, they were in earlier incidents, which means that they don't have their quick fixes, and because of that, we have a couple guys behind the wall. I'm going to run you down through them right now. It is going to be a 43rd place finish for Trevor Perry. He's out of the race behind the wall. Houston Hamer behind the wall as well in 42nd spot. Bryce Hennesack down on pit road with heavy damage right now. No front end on his machine, so that looks like some lengthy repairs. He currently sits in 41st position. Do not see Justin Fuller on track or Adam Gilliland at the moment. They have not officially brought it behind the wall to this point. And then again, we do have 2 drivers that are 1 lap down. That's going to be Zach Johnson and Ryan Wells. They sit 37th and 38th positions respectively. A couple more guys with damage. Ryan Hunt back down pit road. He's trying to get his car fixed. Tail end of these lead lap guys, and the light's still on the pace car, so we're going to try to get a word with our in-race reporter, dial up the radio on PDJ Zeller's machine. He's in the 00 car right now, sitting in P28. Rent, you got him on the radio.
PD Zeller, this is Rents Brown on the booth. You got a copy?
Unfortunately.
Oh man, you were just... did you play dodgeball as a young boy or something, man? I mean, you were just dodging every wreck known to man today, man. You're awesome.
Yeah, you know, well, I wish I could be up in the booth, but sadly my new mic didn't get here in time, so I went down to Ian Plash's shop actually and got a car, and sadly this car only has 6 cylinders, but we're giving it everything we got tonight, trying to make the sponsors proud. You know, hanging out around top 30. We're probably gonna Ricky Bobby it at the end, and yeah.
So what's your game plan here? He's going to kind of ride in the back and hopefully, just as you said, Ricky Bobby it. Do you have any teammates or anything out there that you're trying to work with, or just trying to catch the first draft you get?
Oh yeah, right now Karsten de Guantanamo Bay is my partner. With about 20 to go, you're gonna see us two. We're gonna pass everyone in the field basically, so I mean, it's not a question, it's gonna happen, you'll see.
All
Are we
right,
gonna put money
Petey.
on this?
Yeah,
I need some money.
I feel we should get some money on this, Petey. If you come home as the winner here tonight, I think we're gonna have a few bets or something along the way. But Petey, we're gonna let you go back and do what you do. Just keep dodging those wrecks, and if you're involved in a wreck, then I'm sorry, but we're not gonna let you live that down for the rest of your life.
Well, just remember the Double O's going 2 for 2 tonight.
Right,
That is correct.
He's going to be doing both the races, VIDANE and iSuper Speedway, and well, we've seen a couple people do it so far this year, and one of the names that jumps to mind, the first guy that we saw do it, William Perry, attempted to, and he finished sub 30 in both of them. So maybe Petey can take over the record holder on the best finishes in the double tonight. We'll have to see. I don't know if I think the purple rims may be hindering him, but he's going to be restarting in 28th position.
I think the purple rims are hindering a lot of people out there on the racetrack, but you know what? Petey's doing a great job, qualified for the race. He's driving really smart, so hopefully he can bring us back up in victory lane. I obviously couldn't do it last weekend. Evan, as many could tell, had a lot of problems with the race car at Daytona, so hopefully Petey can do better than I did last week, because he's actually doing better right now as we speak.
And we're going to be set for another restart, this time by going to be 41 laps to go in this race at the Talladega Superspeedway. Going to be coming off of our third caution on the race, and race leader is going to be once again Alan Bowes, the number 37 car. Alongside him again going to be Stephen O'Rourke. Ian Plash up to third, Justin Bolton up to fourth. Pace car is off, and again not going right away. Got to go through about 3/4 of the tri-oval here before the green flag does fly, and unlike some 1.5 tracks, you got to wait for the green flag to fly to get on it. Now green's in the air, back underway, and already going to be side by side up front. No real major advantage to Allen or to Stevens Park. Going to be neck and neck for that top spot on the front row, and doesn't look like there was any major checkups that time. Everybody looks pretty much too wide throughout the field.
Everything looking pretty smooth right now. Everyone going through the gear changes perfectly. That high line still keeping very strong and holding right with that bottom lane of Alan Bowes. Ian Plash, who has just been superb this year on super speedways. I don't think he's got to finish outside the top 3, to tell you the truth, that I can remember. He's doing very well this week as he's pushing one of the strongest contenders right now for the race win, Alan Bowes, around the racetrack in that number 37. The high line with O'Rourke starting to fall off a little bit. That 36 is pushing, but that bottom lane, as I've said earlier, is the shortest way around the racetrack. You want to be there, I believe, in order to win this race. Let's give it to the 37 car this time by. As we go into turn number 1, it is still a battle for the lead, as Ian Plash is trying to clear that the number 3 car.
At an outside lane now, going to drop back down in line, so Stephen O'Rourke will accept that he'll drop back to the number 3 spot. It was Plash who was there at the stripe. The 924 sticks the nose out, and thought he may have just been trying to get some air, but he'll stay out there. The 3 car's going to get up to Bowes, and now it is the 36 of Justin Bolton who's going to get back to Ian Plash. They work around the lap car, and some of the people did not see that machine there because they were tucked up in front of the car in front of them, and that thing got real close there as that lap machine drops back on the high side there. And an orchestrated move by Ian Plash and the 36 of Justin Bolton. They drafted to get back up to these top 5 spots after starting, well, still inside the top 15.
And there we go, the 32's around. In turn number 1, the 32 up and around gets turned. Dustin Lee in the wall, they're all on the fence. Move everyone, the 1 car is trying to make it through. The 25 involved in the wreck earlier, the 11. It's the big one at Talladega. It's what we all feared. The 11 car originally was up in the wall, exiting the tri-oval. We were looking at that, and from there it just went squirrely. The number 32 of Dustin Lee gets hooked into the right side, and oh my goodness, Evan, it is a parking lot at Talladega.
Yeah, the initial car that got up into the wall really wasn't even what caused the wreck. The 32 just got checked up a little bit. 31 held his line, and Dustin Lee just got sent around. And then the problem was he went right back up into the racetrack, went around. The 61 machine going to get a little bit of damage. 57 goes around as well. The 00 car of P.D. Zeller did a good job to miss that initial incident, and then that 00 got run over by the 181 after the wreck, which almost caused a secondary one. A couple more cars got turned. The 37, the 13 car through the grass, hit everybody after that one, and you said bumper hook, but a ARCA brake for days there as well. A lot of trouble in 1 and 2. That's going to bring with the caution, and again, we do have in-race radio with the driver of that 00. PD, you were just in that wreck. What happened from behind the wheel?
Well, there was just trouble in front of us. I got right on the brakes. I saw the smoke, checked up, got off my partner, went high, had it all missed, and I guess people just don't like to check up for wrecks. They tried a Day of Thunder it. Just got ran over, got some heavy back end damage, now it's spinning, now it's got hit by about everything. Car's pretty torn up, but you know what? It's not over till it's over, and you're still going to see the 00 in victory lane.
I think it may be over because he doesn't really have a the left side of the car, but
over,
positive thinking is going to be the memo of the day, or the saying of this race.
Man, oh man, Talladega, just positive thinking. That's what a lot of drivers in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series chase should be doing right now, is just keeping you updated on that as drivers are making their way down pit road. This is, Evan, as we have a caution period here, the final weekend for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series for the 2014 season. For those of you who have been living under a rock, the final four in the championship are Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, give a call to Ryan Newman, and which I believe could probably win this championship, and Joey Logano, the lone Penske guy up there, the lone Ford guy. Jeff Gordon is your pole sitter for the Homestead race on Sunday, so who do you got winning that race as we're under caution here, Evan?
I want to say, I like this. Let's talk a little bit of NASCAR here under the caution flag. First off, watching the truck race, that's good. My man Chase Elliott's doing good at a Nationwide. He's locked up that championship. Homestead is Homestead's such a weird track. I mean, it's a 1.5, but it's not, it's an oval. We call these ovals, but you get the tri-ovals, the quad-shaped ovals like Charlotte and whatnot. I think that one's still a toss-up. I think it's going to be between Harvick and Hamlin based on their results at that track. But Logano's been good all season. Let's talk about Logano. Justin Knobloch rocking the Shell Pennzoil Ford design. It is the 04, so not quite on cue, but give a shout out. I was thinking of his last name, Knobloch. Let's give a shout out to Justin Knobloch, up to P2 in that Pennzoil Ford. And again, that via a bunch of our leaders have just come down pit road. Rents, would that make them good on fuel just at about 36 to go, these guys that just pitted?
It should give them a decent chance to make it to the end, especially with the super speedways. The thing with these cars is, you're going to be hitting 200 miles an hour, so you might be maybe 1 or 2 to the good, but I say run it to the end. If you think you got a chance, run it to the end. If you're someone like the 04, or heck, even the 933, Seth the Merchant, who last time at Talladega pretty much Eric McClure himself into the wall off turn number 4. So it's going to be very interesting to see the strategies from here on out. I think we're not done with the caution, so remember, Evan, for every 2 laps under caution, that's 1 lap of green flag fuel that has been saved. So it should be very interesting to see how this race progresses, as we're starting to get more antsy. We're starting to get more aggressive on the racetrack.
I'll tell you, this has been a quite extended caution flag period. The lights are still on top of the pace car right now. This incident happened back on lap 28, so it's only been 3 laps. It just seems like quite a long yellow flag. So we are just about 2 laps short of the halfway point. We'll hit that halfway point once we get back at a green flag condition. So let's give you a full field rundown right now where everybody sits in the VIDANE Racing Series. Again, race number 4 currently in the works here tonight, the RARChevette Productions 175 at Talladega, and here is how they sit halfway through the race. Seth DeMerchant is on the top spot after starting back in 21st. Justin Knobloch in second. William Perry sits third after a P40 starting spot for that number 70 team. Stephen O'Rourke is fourth. Fifth to Ryan Manning. Ian Plash going to slide back a little bit. He is in sixth position. Logan Kress is seventh. Logan Clampett going to be in eighth position. Ninth is Justin Bolton. And Damon Gilbert going to round out the top 10.
In 11th is Sam Adams. He's having a pretty good run. Started 22nd. He's all the way up to 11th. Paul Strickland Jr. Give a tip of the hat to him. He's been having some rough weeks. Finally starting to get back around. Dalton England is right now running 13th. Jonathan Goke is in 14th. Alan Bowes, who's been dominating most of this race, is actually finding himself in the mid-pack in 15th. Nick Lancaster is 16th. Alex Monteferrante is in 17th. Give a tip of the cap to my teammate Joe Branch as well. He's been doing really well today in 18th. Brandon E. Williams in the number 29 is 19th. And now move up the 88 of Karsten D. G. Montasso in the 20th.
21st position right now is Derek Colson. Trey Eidson is 22nd. 23rd, Brian Bliss. Nick Del Campo, 24th. 25th to Ryan Hunt. And more guys on throughout this field, but we're getting set to go back green. I do believe the lights are off on the pace car. Still rolling in a 2, so still have some more time to get through the rest of this field. The number 34 car is in 26th position. That one going to be Michael Giraglia. God, these race car drivers have the weirdest names, I gotta tell you. Sony 7th is Danilius D. Demetrius. 28th is Dennis Pavel. Zach Johnson, 29th. 30th is Jarrett Bolliard. And then rounding out the lead lap cars is P.D. Zeller, still with some pretty heavy left rear damage. And then again, we have a couple guys that are one lap down. They'll still be fighting for some wave round positions. Ryan Wells looks like the only one that is one lap down, still on track. Fimi Olat is actually disconnected. He has brought his machine behind the wall, so his night going to come to a premature close here tonight. And the field again doubled back up. Going to be another restart. It's going to be the halfway point the next time around in this race. And this race currently going on about 45 minutes through here live on LSRTV. And we're getting set for it. It is going to be DeMerchant up on the front row. How can he work that 933 machine? Him and his teammate Plash trying to work up for some points lost these last few weeks. We'll see how they get going on this restart. Plash going to be in P6. Green flag gets set to come back out in air. 933 in control. Back it away at Talladega Super Speedway. At the inside lane, going to get a little bit of a check up there about mid-pack. The 36 did not get going. That's going to open up the door. The 44 to the bottom. Logan Clampett going to slide down the line.
Yep, there we go. That's just a little bit of that wheel spin, a little bit of maybe missing a shift or just a cue of a shift. As now the 31's all over the 19's back bumper, a little wiggly. As Ian Plash does not want to go down the racetrack just yet. He wants to stay up high, as he's telling his drivers, let's just stay up here for a bit. Right now, Tex Perry is all over that back bumper of your race leader, which is Seth DeMerchant right now. He is just trying to get as far away as possible from this pack right now, as the 70 is all over him. And this is just one of those things where the highlights are going to start jumping up again with the 230 lead in the charge. But at the moment, it's that bottom line making a move. But don't look now. Here comes Alan Bowes in that 37 on the bottom, right behind that 19.
Leaders that time by is still the 933, but the big run is to those guys up on the outside lane, getting real close as you see those guys trying to pinch down the bottom lane. It is the 230 of Ryan Manning. Has help, but oh, he got turned by the 3 car in front of the field. There goes the 70, and this is going to be big down the back.
This is huge on the back. The 70, the 44 is involved. Some of your championship contenders involved in this wreck. The 37 somehow makes it through. It is carnage once again at Talladega. This is just one of those messes that happened. It looked like we just saw one of those classic bumper grabs off the corner, hooked the 70, and the 70 was just along for the ride, as many people were. As the 70s now is crab walking down the back. I believe that would be race over for Tex Perry if he has not already used his one race restart that you're allowed. Tough break for him. He was up in the top 3. And the replay is up here on lap 34 at Talladega. Evan, it's just one of those inevitable things. Guys are starting to bump draft, and they're starting to get more and more into this mode of get to the front. You got to protect yourself, and Now you look at it, and it's just that left rear quarter as Justin Bolton also blown up, has damage. That 36 is destroyed as well on the wreck. Evan, I don't know how many times that people are going to be preaching this, but that left rear quarter is somewhere you do not want to be pushing anywhere around this racetrack.
And we've seen a lot more of that bumper grab there in these most recent weeks here. I know a couple of a new build going to be coming up in just about 4 weeks. They're still relatively on a new one, with the Season 4 being a little bit shorter here on iRacing. The 44 of Clampett going to be involved in that one. He's not happy about that, as he got run over from behind on that incident. And it's not the first time tonight that we have seen our leaders be taken out after, innocent contact, just pushing through the corner, a slight movement on the left rear. And these, especially these Gen 6 cars, very unforgiving when it comes. Most of the leaders going to be coming down pit road. This should make everybody close to good on fuel, and we're going to step away to take another quick commercial break. You're watching the VIDANE Racing Series Season 7 on LSRTV, powered by iRacing.com, the Rent a Race Car Super Speedway Series from Talladega, Race 4, the RARChevette Productions 175, and we're going to keep racing. Second half of the race coming up on the other side.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Back live at the Talladega Super Speedway tonight on LSRTV, the VIDANE Racing Series Season 7, powered by iRacing.com, the Rent a Race Car Super Speedway Series on LSRTV, Race 4 of 12. Tonight, the Cup cars out on track for the RARChevette Productions 175. A quick shout out again to RARChevette Productions, video editing and more from Ian Plash, who is one of the highest placing drivers right now in the points for the solo driver points, and has also picked up a checkered flag so far on the season. Was actually caught up in that most recent wreck and is back in 27th. You can check out his work. That's facebook.com/RARChevette. The lights on a pace car right now, do anticipate them to go off this time by the start-finish line. Current race leader is Stephen O'Rourke. We had a couple of drivers that tried to drag race the pace car to pit road, and it looks like Logan Clampett, I thought he may have missed it. He's driving around the pace car, so he might have caught lucky there, trying to stay on the lead lap. A lot of these drivers, what they're trying to do is come down pit road, get as much damage fixed as they can, go back out, and then make another lap around without losing a lot to the pace car, come right back down and get the damage fixed, try to get as much damage fixed as they can there. Those guys are going to be banking on a few more yellows so that they can continue to get damage repairs and try to get some sort of a competitive race car for maybe a top 20, top 15, depending on the way all this shakes out. But the lights are off. Going to be a restart at lap number 39. That's going to be, just under 30 laps to go in this one. Going to be about 28, 27 to go that time by the start-finish line. And again, I said Stephen O'Rourke in the top spot. And we have a couple of guys moving up and down through this field, so we'll keep an eye on where everybody sits right now. But restart going to be coming up, and these guys have been looking for a long green flag run here for the last couple of laps. The spring of yellow flags here has kind of caught us in a little bit of a caution fever. We'll have to see if they can get some green flag laps knocked out here on this next restart.
Yeah, that is true right now. It's number 3 of Stephen O'Rourke is your leader, and Seth DeMerchant is now in the 2nd position. Logan Kress is 3rd. Jimmy Masso is the 88, as we will just call him for now so we don't offend his family, is in the 4th position, and Trey Elson is the 84 car is P5. So things have definitely shaken up so far here as the pace car is about to make that hard left-hand turn here, Evan. Let's get this race back underway, and hopefully we can go to the end without a caution. But these guys are showing that intensity is about to get revved right back up.
Well, I've tried to analyze it for a little bit. That 88 does have some back-end damage in 4th. We're going to go with Karsten D. Giantomaso. We'll see if that's anywhere near correct. But green flag is back in the air, and we're underway. Once again from Talladega, coming off about our 5th or 6th restart. I do see off of a caution flag so far here tonight. Tightly packed up front. No major checkups throughout the field. One car going to dive down aggressively low. That's the 36 of Justin Bolton. He wants to get in behind that 68 car of Damon Gilbert on that inside, and as the outside tries to get hooked up, inside going to have the advantage by 1.5 cars.
The 3 car of O'Rourke is just trying. Stephen O'Rourke has just got the inside line on the restart. It's the preferred lane on the restart, to be quite honest with you, and that 38 is starting to follow suit. Looks like the 37 is going to try to use the high line. He's all the way back in about the 7th or 6th or 7th position right now. He's trying his best to get back up towards the lead. A very strong car in the early going was Alan Bowes. They're 2 by 2 for the first 4 or 5 rows, and it's single file behind them. Everyone's starting to get strung out just a little bit. The wrecks have kind of calmed us down for just the moment as the bottom lane is starting to prevail. As Alan Bowes is starting to go backwards. He's going to let a few cars by as we're going to hit the backstretch, and back to you, Evan.
Yeah, there's a balance that these guys are going to have to walk, because the fact that they've seen a little bit of a string of these recent caution flags is going to make them want to settle down, take it easy, knock off some laps here before we can really get down to the crunch time. But, at the same time, we're getting right down to the point where you really got to start making your way up through the field if you need to. You guys got back, 15th positions deeper on in the field here. You don't have a lot of time to sit around, and if something happens up in front of you, that could essentially be the end of your race. So you want to get going here. Top few cars, again, they've single filed out. First car that's going to make a move to the outside lane, going to be the 68 of Damon Gilbert. 933 machine with him. That's going to be Seth DeMerchant, and the 8805 car is going to be the next guys in line up on that outside lane. That is going to be Karsten D. Giantomaso with help from Nick Del Campo. Now we got a tandem going up high. They want to challenge for the lead. Trey Eidson going to go up top with Justin Bolton, and in doing so, that 68 car of Damon Gilbert going to go down low. He leaves Seth up top with no help.
That's what we were talking about a little bit earlier, Evan. You got your partners for the most part Seth just barely got into that hole right there. Almost turned he and the 19 around. You can't fit an 8-foot car into a 5-foot hole, especially at Talladega, as now move the 84 on point. The 84 car is now to the race point, but Trey Edelson to the race lead, and now Stephen O'Rourke coming back on the bottom. The 3 is trying so desperately to keep that Scott's car down on the bottom. Can he keep it wound up and keep the momentum going as he's trying to make that bottom lane the most preferred and most dominant lane possible? But that high line's not going away. I think those adjustments they made in practice to these cars really helped with the way that this racing has prevailed on the high line.
Couple guys all over the radio trying to get communicated with some of the other drivers out there. Look at the 3 car in the middle. Thought about maybe going up and blocking the run that Trey Eidson has up top. Him and the 36 machine working together on a high side. Seth drop back down in line behind the 29 of Brandon Williams. Hopped right back up top. Now Del Campo going to get up there on the outside as well, along with that 37 car of Bose. And then we're again going to get pretty much double file for the majority of this lead pack. We got 5 cars on the high side and in that equal amount of distance, 6 on the bottom. This field has kind of been split up right after P18. You got 18 cars in this lead draft at about 1.2 seconds back to that secondary group, which is positions 19th through 25th, and then 4 seconds back from the lead, you start to trickle down to those final sets of guys that are still with competitive race cars at this point. The 3 is battled back on the inside. Eidson not going to give it up on the high side quite yet. His CBR racing entry is challenging back on the outside lane, and it is going to be the advantage to Trey up on the high side. We have to see if him and that 36 of Bolton can push long enough to get clear. Well, not going to wait for that 36. Trey Eidson going to drop down to the bottom. He leads at the stripe, and he will now lead that inside charge. Oh, big bobble, 37 of Alan Bose just shot straight up the hill. He's able to hang on. Not sure what that was, but we stay clean and green up front for the most part.
We say clean and green for right now. We get reports that Alex Monteferrante is smoking around the racetrack right now. He's got some engine woes as the 84, as you said, has gone to the race lead in the preferred lane, the bottom lane right now. But that 36 of Justin Bolton, he's going to try to get back up to that race lead, being pushed by Seth DeMerchant, who's been showing his muscle here more than less in the back half of this race right now. Stephen O'Rourke just waiting and biding his time. This is also the point in the race too, Evan, where if I'm a driver, I start, asking these guys, asking the other guys, as now the 68 moves up to the high line. Risky move, but he's going to make it work. That Wrangler machine is just wrangling his way back up. He's using everything. It's almost like fighting the bull with the way that he's driving that car right now. Move him back up to the high line. They're going to try to get going. Now the 3's going to try to move up high. They might be able to make that high line work going into 3 and 4.
At the inside, still trying to get sorted out. That 3 car of O'Rourke not quite tucked up on a back bumper of Trey Eidson's machine, and the guys up top become separated as well. 3 car slides up just a little bit. That bottom lane almost gets a little bit loose. When you go through the triangle there, you get down below that first set of white hash marks through the triangle, which almost creates a 4th lane, which then blends back up into what is this bottom lane. Back down through the corners. The guys up top are not pushing right now. Get a little bit of an air to the back of Justin Bolton and to the front of his machine as well. The next car that's behind them on the outside lane, still Seth DeMerchant, may have an opportunity to slide in line and check up and close that door very quickly, as Seth just kind of riding third wheel up top of these guys drafting. Lap machine going to stay high. That's the 09 car. No issues getting around Bryce Hendersack, as he will lose his 5th lap of the race right now. And so far, that 84 car that moved to the inside looked pretty smart after he left that 36 of Bolton. Up top, he continues to lead. This 3 car's got to watch it though, coming off the corner or just pushing high a little bit. You really got to give these Gen 6 cars a lot of wheel coming off the corner. That 3 car just pushing up a little bit, and as these laps continue to tick down, that time by was 20 laps to go, and these guys on the outside start to pinch down. You're not going to be able to afford that little bit of a slide up the hill.
As we've seen in different races around the iRacing, especially the NASCAR builds, it's a lot of side draft too involved. That's why you're seeing these guys kind of pitch down, because also with the side draft comes the ability to almost take the air away from that right side of the car. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to pinch them down, especially off the corner as well. When you come off a corner, the car naturally wants to go up and try to create an arc out of the corner, try to push up towards the wall. When you do that, you scrub speed off and you're pinching them down. The 68 car now, as we're seeing some passes and lead changes, Damian Gilbert gets the lead and then leaves his teammate or his pushing partner, the 36 of Justin Bolton.
Oh, the 05 machine.
We're spinning, the 05 is around. The 05 is around in turns 1 and 2. Big thing that happened. No one else gets involved. But tough break for Nick Del Campo in front of the whole field. I don't know how everyone missed him.
That's the key question, is how did everybody get around him? And just more bumper hook. The 19 was pushing him. Sam Adams trying to help Nick out there as they were just inside of the top 10. And I mean, it just went around. The 08 machine sneaks through, the 67 as well on the high side, and he had that thing turned to the right, which actually turned the car to the left because he was going backwards there, and everybody was making those passes on the apron, and I started to see him go down there, and I was half anticipating a car to come flying and just nail him in that left side door, but a great job by everybody behind that one to check up accordingly, take a look at what that 05 was doing, and get around him. And Nick's going to bring that machine immediately down pit road. That will give him a DOL penalty because pit road not yet open for the leaders, as new race leader Damon Gilbert still now catching a pace car down the back straightaway, so quick note on that. But again, going to return to caution flag conditions here on this next restart. Going to be coming up right on the bubble of just inside 15 laps to go, which means again we have to start talking about the placement of these guys. You're going to have to really work with what you got from this point on. You really don't have a lot of time to make up a lot of positions here, and you got to like those guys in the top 10. We have seen it in the past. Guys come flying through. Was it Ian Plash that it was at Talladega? Gained about 10, 11 spots on a final 3-run shootout to get the checkered flag. There's the yellow flag through, so it's not impossible, but you got to like the chances of those guys that are going to be starting up front. Had a great drive by Damon Gilbert. Was able to get that spot via the pass on the outside lane. Started this race back in 26th position. He sits first right now, and we're down pit road for the final time tonight. Pit stops to determine who's going to be where, and you got to be perfect on this. You can't afford to overshoot your stall. Only issue for Damon is he's going to be so far back on pit road via the qualifying effort. He overshot his stall.
He overshot his stall. Your race leader overshoots his stall. Seth the Merchant with a great stop. Just gas and go, it seemed like, for the 923. Sorry, the 933 there. He's going to get off pit road P1, it seems. Just that little bit of difference. The other thing, too, here, Evan, we talked about how Plash went from about 10th to 1st. The thing that is so different between the nationwide cars that we ran here and the Cup cars we have now is the horsepower. The thing with the nationwide cars is, you know, you could suck up a lot more than you could with these cars, in my opinion, and I felt it too when I practiced those cars. The other thing along with that is the aerodynamics of the nationwide cars makes it so much easier to pull up. So for someone like Ian Plash or someone in the back, you're going to have to do a lot more wrestling with this car because it's not as easy as a nationwide or a truck as we've seen in the previous races. But don't worry, folks sitting at home. I think we're in for another great, fantastic finish and race to the end here at VIDANE for the super speedway racing that we have been brought to our attention today.
And we had a couple of guys shuffling positions on that cycle of pit stop. 68 car get to lose some time as he was passed by the 3, the 37, the 230, the 933, and Nick Del Campo in front of them as well. However, I do believe he will have some sort of a penalty. Current race leader is Jonathan Goke. Up to second position is the 00 of PD Zeller. Both these cars have gained some significant time from staying out this time around. The 08 of Goke was actually only 13th position, so trying to see if he has any shot at making this on fuel. Don't believe so. He pitted back when everybody else did, so if everybody else had to pit for fuel, then he does as well, along with that 00 machine with all of that back end damage there. That Ford going to be up at the front of the field for this next restart. We'll see if he opts to come back down pit road as the lights stay off of the pace car. That's probably going to be the 2 to green that time by, and Rent's going to queue up on the radio with the driver of that 00, who has told in chat that he's going to be coming down pit road. We'll have to get an update on this strategy.
All right, PD Zeller, this is Rent's Brown in the booth. You got a copy?
I do, actually.
All right, so PD, you got your back end all busted up, the nose completely destroyed, but you're going to try to Earnhardt your way through there. What's the strategy here?
Well, you know, I was sitting here and I was like, what would my home dogs One Direction do? And I was like, they would stay out right now, so I'm going to stay out. The crew has been doing the stuff in the hood the whole race, so I don't know what the crew chief's thinking, but he thought it was a good idea. And we're pretty good to go. Just need to get some more of the stuff in the hood and the quarter panels, and should be happy with the rest of this race.
Now, Petey, this is something I gotta think of here. Do you think you have a chance here with that car? If you get enough bear bond on that thing, I think you might look like a roll of duct tape by the time this thing's over with. It's a giant duct tape car. But do you think you got enough of what it takes to get up there and run with the professional sim racers out there in the world?
Oh, you don't get more professional than me, man. These cars are just so equal here tonight, and mine is just a little bit better than everyone else. So I think this is going to be a good restart here. Hopefully, we're still considering if we're going to pit here or not. You'll probably see in about 2 seconds. But yeah, the crew chief's really confused right now. He lost his microphone, so I guess we'll see.
That is, you know, we actually fired your crew chief for you before the beginning of this race just to make it a little bit more interesting, as you're going to make that hard. Oh, man, you almost took out the cone. Great job by not trying to destroy as you hit the wall. More damage for the pit crew to go and fix there, PD, but I think we're going to let you get back to doing what you're doing. I'm not sure how they're going to pit your left side, but have fun, PD, trying to get back up there to the front.
Oh, I will, and I just got to
the car's on the wall.
Oh, my car's on the wall. Oh, great. Come on, guys, give me some more of the stuff in the hood.
The crew has literally just put the left side of the car up on top of the
I think
pit
they're done,
wall.
Evan. I think the crew we're really going to have to cut back here. Maybe we're just going to put this car on the hauler, I'm not sure yet, but just thanks Bullring Racing for providing us with this car and burritos, and Major League Gaming, #Major.
So it has gone from an Ian Plash racing machine to a Bullring racing machine throughout the night.
Oh, don't worry, Ian Plash doesn't want his name a part of that car, so I see why.
Well, the lights are off on the pace car. Going to be a lap 53 restart out of 66 here tonight. So that's going to be 14 laps to go. And again, have to remind everybody, as we have for years past and probably years to come, the way it looks, no green-white checkers, which means that if a caution flag flies with 4 or less laps to go, this race will end under a yellow flag condition. So that's also something to keep an eye on. That's how the first race here at Talladega with the VIDANE Racing Season 7 was settled. Again, with Ian Plash just getting a nose over the other guys there through the trial right before the caution flag was thrown. So we're going to be going for this next restart. We have 30 cars on the lead lap as we sit right now. Goke and DeMerchant going to be making up those front row guys. And Rents, do we keep it green here, or is this going to be the wildest restart so far tonight? We roll out of 4.
As we roll out of 4, the pace car is going to look for the safety of pit road. I think we're going to start revving it up. You know, we're within that 15 to go marker. It's all going to be do or die, teammates, heck with them. Right now, Jonathan Goke will be your race leader in the 08 Pepsi machine. Into his outside Seth DeMerchant. As the green flag flies, we're back underway here at Talladega. The 08 tries to get the jump, but the 933 staying right with them. A perfect start by Seth, no one behind him. Now here comes the 230 and the 68. Joe Branch back in the 4th spot on the high line. They're starting to check up now. The 3 and the 230 make contact. The 08 and the 37 trying to get out of Dodge. They want to get out of here as fast as possible. 3 wide now with Joe Branch all by himself on the high line.
37 to the high side. Alan Bose, he's going to try to make a move. He gets up there with Seth. That's going to force the 3 car of Stephen O'Rourke to work with that 08 of Jonathan Goke. And the move paying off so far, half a car length advantage. They're going to have to focus on getting a good run coming off of 4, because now that inside lane is pushing. It is the 37 of Bose. He has help again, the 933 of Seth DeMerchant. This one is going to be a drag race. If this was the finish, it would be close, but coming this time by, going to be 13 laps to go in it. We have about 4 sets of tandems as advantage goes to Bose that time by the line. You do have the 08 and the 3 car on the bottom, the 37 and the 933 up top. Then you got another pack. Oh, a little bit of contact there, and the outside lane going to lose a lot of speed. There goes the inside after looks like some net code going to hinder the progress of Alan Bose.
Classic bumper grab just a little bit. At this point, you don't care if you're bump drafted and bumper grab will be a thing. You want to push your guy as hard as you can for as long as you can. If you can push for longer and without overheating, you have a great chance at victory lane. That high line completely fell off. The 08 of Jonathan Goke right now doesn't have any challengers. As I say that, the 3, Stephen O'Rourke, moving to the high line with the 36. The 38 drops to help the 08. Here comes the 37 and the 933 as well. 3 sets of tandems. Talladega on the front stretch into turn number 1. The 3 car race lead. Here comes the 37 on the high line, trying to pass both of them for 4th and 3rd.
And now that 37 going to be left outside with no help down the back straightaway as that 933 of DeMerchant drop down in line, and it is Alan Bowes, and now Seth's going to hop back up and work with him here. Caught him at a bad time. It looked like the 37 had actually just checked up to try to get down in line when Seth jumped out of line to go help him. That's going to cost him some speed. 4 wide around some lap traffic there. Everybody's able to get through that one without issue. The 38 now going to slide up. Logan Crest to the outside. The 36 of Bolton jumps out of line for the bottom. Everybody trying to make moves. We're 3 wide with these lead lap cars. There goes to the high side. The run with Logan Crest and Alan Bowes.
And at turn number 3, we're 3 wide for second and third positions right now. Put the 36 in the sucker hole right now, and it looks like the high line is starting to move. Put Alan Bowes now behind that National Guard. Now they're going to go 3 wide, 4 wide almost. We're hitting each other in the quarter panels. We're trying to wreck, but we haven't wrecked yet. We're 4 wide in turn number 3 and 4 right now. The front 2 have just set sail. The
33 car's going to slide up.
They're going to set the Merchant up and in the wall. He drifts it, and they all save it.
What
they
a
all save it off turn number 4.
They wrecked and they bounced off each other, but somehow, despite the positions that are going to be lost by Seth the Merchant, he hangs on miraculously, and that could have been a huge pile-up. They hang on to it. We stay green, and now that has the top 2 clear by 0.4 of a second on the rest of the pack. It was a huge run by Logan Crest and Alan Bowes at a high side. The 4 wide hindered that progress down the back straightaway, and somehow, after a huge checkup in 3 and 4, we're now 3 wide actually for P3 with 3 sets of tandems. All these guys trying to chase down the race leader of Stephen O'Rourke. Jonathan Gope is actually hanging back from that 3. The leaders aren't pushing. They're going to be caught up to real quick as all these tandems come flying out of 4. They're led by the 19 of Sam Adams with help from the 38. They're going to get boxed in on the inside, though. Nowhere to go. 19 leaves his partner to get up top of the 36 machine.
Sam Adams is thirsty in that number 19. Move him to the race lead. Perfect move by the 19. He's going to have to choose what lane to go to. Drops back down low. That number 36 of Justin Bolton now, trying to figure out how he's going to get around that 19. On the backstretch they go. 36, 19, drag race down the backstretch. The high line is starting to prevail. Alan Bowes is also back in that pack. Now the second pack is starting to catch that first. We're all getting back up, bunched ready together for the final set of laps to go here at Talladega. Justin Bolton, he's your race leader at the moment. Great racing without any wrecking. This is how it's supposed to be. And now Bolton's gonna get, they almost get turned. They almost all get turned on the front stretch of the 84.
3 wide
the 19
again.
made contact. Evan, they're coming to you in turn number 1.
The 3 car slid high, nearly got into a couple of those drivers, and then everybody was able to hang on. 3 wide for the lead for a moment. Now double file, 36 Bolton, who led at that time by, drops down to the inside. He wants to work with the 84 machine of Trey Eidson. Issue is they're not hooked up yet. That's going to give a huge advantage to the guys up high. Top 3 now. Going to be clear. They drop down in line. They are led by the number 29 car, who's up in the top spot right now, is Brandon Williams. 37 of Alan Bowes in second, and then that 38 of Logan Crest in third. 36 to the high side from P4. Does not want to sit around. Bolton up top. 37 machine of Alan Bowes going to go with him. They will try to make the outside work. 29 car going to slide high. He's going to block the outside lane. A huge wiggle from the 37 of Alan Bowes. He hangs on, and right back down in line goes that 29 car, Brandon Williams, scrapping, trying to defend that position.
Now the 33 and the 19 making contact into turn number 2. It looks like they're starting to bump draft and get aggressive a little bit more. As you saw Bowes throw a defensive block on the front stretch. We're crossing over. We're trying to get everything we can. The 38 now of Logan Crest moving to the inside of your race leader. The 29 stuck in the middle.
3 wide.
The 84, 3 wide. We're 3 wide, almost up in the wall. Everyone saying the heck with the room. We're getting in our personal space now. The 84 falling all the way back. Logan Crest, your race leader. That 33, the Napa 33, trying to get back to the lead. Don't look now. The 924 of Ian Plash is on the bottom once again. He wants to get back to the race lead and to the win again.
Creeping into the top 10, lap car going to stay well to the apron and stay clear. 33 is on the apron. He's going to have to come back up at some point. Nick Lancaster. Oh, start 33 of Seth the Merchant's around. Caution is out.
Seth the Merchant hard into the inside wall, hard in the outside wall. Just got turned off turn number 2. Nowhere for anyone to go. Another great piece of driving by everyone to miss him. Oh my goodness, Evan. We just had about 6 or 7 lead changes within 5 laps. The racing is absolutely ridiculous. And don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to get at least one last restart or so, or more than one last restart to go, if we keep this up.
Yeah, Seth goes around, and he was able to keep it off of both the walls. The only issue is he spun around, made some contact with some of these other guys, and then again, caution flag would fly, got some damage, engine damage on that number 933 machine, so his night pretty much done. And oh, we said it was going to get revved up, and how about that? There was about 4 times that we should have been wrecking, and we should have been wrecking big, and these guys somehow, is everybody, they're all able to hang on to it. That incident going to be caused, again, I think it was Nick Lancaster, who got down onto the apron. He checked up. He did a very smart move, got on the brakes instead of trying to stay with it, and, was able to keep going. But then everybody trying to shuffle to get around him. The 31 car moved up just a little bit on the left rear, turned Seth around. That was the 31 car who was able to drive away. That's Dalton, England. He got a little bit of contact, 27 with some damage in that mix as well. But you have to feel Seth the Merch and Himedy and Plash going for the 2-car team championship, and they've been hindered after a couple of rough races from Seth here. And obviously now going to cycle all the way back to 22nd spot. Tough break for them. We are going to have one more restart at that point. If we go back green out of caution flags before the white flag, this race will end. The question is, how many laps are we going to get? It's going to be 63 lap number 63 rather, going to be started at the start finish line. There are 66 laps, so I'm thinking this may be a 2-lap shootout or possibly a 1-lap shootout. If anything happens after that white flag point, doesn't matter. If the whole field's at a big pileup, we will stay green till that checkered flag. So we're not done with the action tonight. This is going to be, I don't know what's going to happen, but if it happens, it's going to be big. And there's a checkered flag on the line here, and there's a bunch of guys that are still in contention for this one. This should be a pretty wild one. This could be one of the wildest finishes we've seen all season, depending on how many laps to go. These guys may be just getting up to speed by the time we get down to 3 and 4, which means the draft is not going to be that good as it would be at top speed. So this is going to be a very interesting scenario.
Yeah, it will be. We've the admins have been preaching, do not push on the left quarter panel. Don't do it. We don't need spins. But at this point in time in the race, I think you need to stay as hooked up to the guy in front of you as possible. This is your only chance. I say by the back stretch, you're going to see guys go 3 and possibly 4 wide if they get the chance to. At Super Speedway Racing, we have this thing called a restrictor plate. It is to block air intake to the engine and really chokes the air into the engine to where you can't go full throttle. Back in the day in the 80s, you used to be able to see speeds of upwards of 210 miles an hour. Now it takes 1 full lap for them to get up to their maximum speed. So it should be interesting to see how these guys start to go, because as you alluded to, Evan, they will not be up to their full song coming to the start-finish line. If indeed, from what I'm hearing is correct, it will be a 1-lap shootout.
This time by, we'll see. We'll keep an eye as the lights are still on top of the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car, and this time by will be 3 laps to go. So we'll keep an eye on the lights right here. Lights will remain on. The drivers have gotten the one to go here. So it is going to be a 1-lap shootout to decide this one. Right now, on the spot, Rents, who takes the checkered flag?
That's like asking, who's your favorite child? It's one of those hard questions in life that you must answer. But to tell you the truth, I'm going to go with Alan Bowes. He has just been so strong in the 37 car. He's shown his muscle all night long. But, I mean, you look at the 29 car, you look at the 19, 36, they've all been up there. The 3 car has probably been the second best car in this draft today. So it's really hard, but I'm going to have to make my bet with the 37. How about you, Evan?
If we were getting 2 to go, I would tell you it's going to be Logan Kress, because because at that point I'd say we'd be wrecking by the time we hit turn 1, and he'd win this under caution flag conditions. Because of the fact that it's going to be a 1-lap shootout, and it's going to be pretty wild here. I don't think the guy up on that top spot's just going to be able to hold his own. I think we're going to see the 2, 3, 4 wide action, whatever it may be, have to dictate this one. And I have to like right now with the number 19 is sitting of Sam Adams. Started this race 22nd position. He's in a spot where he can push that 29, or whenever he wants, he has the ability to jump out, create a third lane, or even jump down below the 29, force the 3-1, and then he just needs to be thinking on his toes. So I think it's going to be somewhere in the range that Sam Adams, Justin Bolton, those guys just a couple of spots back from the top spot are going to have the best opportunity in this one, because they're going to have some sort of an option to make a move. They got to be up on their toes, though. You don't want to try to make that move or, try to block somebody, get in front of somebody too late. You cannot hesitate, because if you hesitate, that hole's going to be closed, and that's when things are going to get real ugly.
Yeah, it will be. Let's take a look at the Ford Mustang pace car, as the drivers have been told they were going to be one-lap shootout. And ladies and gentlemen, this will be a one-lap shootout. Currently, let's run down your top 10 as we get the moment to, because I guarantee you this will not be how they finish. Logan Kress is first, the number 38, the 29 of Brandon Williams is second, the 37 of Alan Bowes is third, fourth is Sam Adams, the 36 of Justin Bolton is in the number 6 spot. Steve O'Rourke is also up there in 7th. Damon Gilbert, Jonathan Goke, Ian Plash is a guy that you cannot joke around with even on a one-lap shootout. So Evan, as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, don't count your chickens before you hatch, and you better pray you got some sort of life insurance policy, because this thing's about to get crazier than anything we've ever seen before.
And we are double filed. The last time I believe we'll see these guys double file for the rest of the race, because it's about to get real interesting coming out of 2 after this ensuing restart. Logan Kress will be the control car. Alongside him is the number 29 of Brandon Williams. A little bit of back end damage on that 29 Toyota, but those are the 2 drivers that make up that front row. 28 cars still mathematically in contention for this win on the lead lap, and well, Talladega has brought us some wild finishes in the past, and I have a feeling we're going to see another one. It is going to be a one-lap shootout. The green and the white flag will drop simultaneously. That means there are no more cautions. We're going to race it out to the checkered flag, and we're going to find out who's going to walk away tonight with the RARChevette Productions 175 at Talladega. Pace car down to pit road. 29 car gets right up on that door of Logan Kress. Get set for the restart. This time by through the trial vote for the penultimate time. We get set, and already we're beating and banging. Green flag in the air. A huge check up on the bottom. This is going to get real messy down to 1. Already thinking of 3 wide. There goes the 3 car to the middle.
The 29 got a huge jump on that start. The bottom lane did not go.
Oh!
Move the 29 up. The 19's up in the wall. They're trying to go everywhere. We're 3 wide. The 1 bouncing off each other. In the try. Oh, they're the 1. There we go. They're spinning
Ian
off
Plash
turn number
is
4. Here we go, down the backstretch they go, huge wreck, the 7 up and over. We stay racing at Talladega in a turn, in the backstretch, going into turn number 3. Logan Kress is just trying everything again. He got moved all the way back.
Single file, though.
And this 37, though, the 37's going to try to last lap pass. Evan, they're coming to you off turn number 4.
It's Bowes pushing. He has to make a move, or does he push that 38 to the checkered flag? No movement quite yet. A last-second charge from the 36 and the 3 car. No action. Last-second move. Not enough time. Checkered flag in the air, and he got it. Logan Kress, checkered flag. He led it at the white flag, and he dropped about to 5th position. At one point there in 3 and 4, they started bouncing off each other, and Alan Bowes pushes into that checkered flag. The 38 and 37 going to take 1-2.
Man, oh man, what a finish. What an absolute brawl to the end. The National Guard, number 38, showing that he's a warrior out here on the racetrack. What an unbelievable job by everyone involved today. Fantastic result for everyone involved. In the melee, Ian Plash, our points leader, coming into tonight's race, was involved in that final incident. Great job by everyone involved, Evan. I am just impressed by how well those drivers were able to hang on to it on that white flag.
We have a couple of drivers that are still trying to coast across the start-finish line. We got a couple of them that are still trying to come into turn number 4, but meanwhile, at the start-finish line, it is the 38 machine of Logan Kress. He is going to burn it down on the front straightaway. He takes the checkered flag tonight. You see his teammate there, the 37 machine, celebrating with him, and that does it as PDJ Zeller, our in-race reporter, continues to try to make it to the strike piece.
I'm gonna make
coasting it at about 20 miles an hour. We'll have to see if PD gets it. Then we're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, he may still be trying to get to the start-finish line, but we're going to get some post-race interviews on the way. You're watching the VIDANE Racing Series Season 7 on LSRTV, the post-race show for the RARChevette Productions 175 coming up. Back live here at the Talladega Super Speedway, VIDANE Racing Series Season 7, powered by Racing.com on LSRTV. Race 4, the RARChevette Productions 175 at Talladega, is in the books after a one-lap dash to the finish. It is going to be Logan Kress who takes home the checkered flag, but much in part due to the help from that 37 of Alan Bowes, who pushed him through, and Rents Brown, you've caught up on pit road with the driver of that number 37 car.
Alan Bowes just kind of talking to the guys up, just trying to see what was happening. Alan Bowes, great run tonight in the number 37 Ford Fusion. Talk to me about your race. What was going through your mind in those last couple of laps?
Oh man, I don't even know what was going through my mind. I was just like, okay, we got a caution. Let's do this. Let's push my teammate to the win. And we got a really bad restart. I think Logan missed a shift. And basically we got just enough of a push to get to the inside of Brandon to where he couldn't come down. And after that, it was ours.
You look so dominant in the first part of the race, Alan. Tell me, what was the strategy just involved with the drafting and all that, especially with the new setup that we just were given to us about 20, 30 minutes before we actually went racing?
Well, the setup didn't have quite as much suck up as I thought it would have. I thought it would have a lot more than what it did, but to my surprise, it really didn't have that much. You know, it made for some good racing up front. We could run side by side for quite a while and, you know, swap the lead back and forth every lap and all that stuff. And, hop lanes. It was just so much fun. Overall, I think it was a great setup, but there may be some other people that didn't think so. But overall, just pitted a couple times, took 4 tires, took no tires, took left sides. It just honestly depended on where I was at in the track or if I was up front, so.
Indeed there, my friend. Before we let you go and, go talk back to your crew and all that and try to debrief, anyone you want to thank, shout outs or anything like that, Alan?
Well, I got to thank Fast Track Sims for being on the car. I got to thank Logan Crest for being an awesome teammate. Congrats to him on his 2nd win in a row. Brandon Williams and Sam Adams, they both had a good race. Everybody who finished in the top 10, which would be Bolton, O'Rourke, Jonathan Goke, top 5. They all put on an amazing race. I got to thank Fastlane Motorsports for being supportive of us doing this, and I got to thank you guys for putting on a very good broadcast.
And we thank you so much for your great run today. Alan, fantastic job in the 2nd place finish. Ladies and gentlemen, that was your 2nd place finisher of Alan Bowes. Now we're going to send it to Evan Pasoko, who's in victory lane.
And it was via that help from the man you just talked to, Alan Bowes, that secures the checkered flag for Logan Crest. And Logan, that restart, not what you were looking for. You dropped back to almost 5th at one point before they started bouncing off each other, down in 1 and 2. You were able to get the checkered flag. How'd you get it done?
Well, Brandon is part of our real full team on iRacing, so he wasn't racing for points. He kind of knew what mine and Bowes' situation was, so he kind of had an idea. He jumped the start, or Sam Adams kind of bumped him and made him jump the start. So he gave us the benefit of the doubt and just kind of stayed up there, but almost got us wrecked. He started to come down and second guess himself, and then realized I was underneath him. So it just teamwork right there that won it.
Walk us through your race as a whole. You started up in a top spot. You come home with that top position, but it wasn't smooth sailing all the way through. How you were able to fight, get your way back up to the frontier, and actually be in that spot that would allow you to contend for that lead after that final caution had thrown?
I can't remember at all what happened in the beginning of this race. I know we started on the pole, almost got wrecked, and just stayed in the top 10 for most of the green flag runs. So just stayed up in the lead pack, and I don't know, I went with the lane that I was going, and every time I switched lanes, people would follow me and help me out. So that made my job just a boatload easier.
Well, we are now 4 races through, so a third of the way through this season. And again, you talked about the point situation. You got to like where you guys are sitting right now.
Oh, yeah, I don't even know who's in second anymore, because I hear Ian got wrecked at the end of this race, or some point in this race, so kind of have to figure out who's in second. I just know that we're in the lead. We have a pretty decent gap after finishing top 5, both cars, for 2 weeks straight. So I said last week we have to run mid-pack the rest of the year, and did not expect us to run up front at all in this race, so I guess we just got to stick to what worked and what we've been doing.
Before we let you go back and celebrate here with the rest of the team, sponsors and shout-outs, everybody as always. Who makes it happen for you in the 38 team?
Alan Bowes, he's a great partner to work with at a restricted plate track, and just everybody at Fastlane.
All right, well, congratulations once again on the win here, Logan. Good luck to you and Alan as well rolling forward in this championship.
All right, thank you.
That was your race winner tonight. Logan Crest finishes at the top of the pile. We're going to give you real quick your full field rundown after the RARChevette Productions 175. Top 10, Logan Crest, Alan Bowes, Justin Bolton, Stephen O'Rourke, Jonathan Goke, Brandon Williams, Damon Gilbert, Joe Branch, Ryan Wells, and Trey Eidson would round out those top 10 positions.
And for your 11th through 20th, you got Dalton England, Sam Adams, Nick Lancaster, William Perry, Nick Del Campo, Logan Clampett, Ryan Hunt, Ian Plash, who was involved in that last wreck of the night, Dennis Pavel, and Michael Gargilla, rounding out with Zach Johnson in 21st.
22nd, Ryan Bliss. Danelius Dermedius going to come home 23rd, and 24th, rounding out the lead lap cars, was Justin Knobloch. Rest of the field would go Jarrett Bolliard, Paul Strickland Jr., Carson D. Giantomaso, Derek Colson, P.D. Zeller, Craig Hawkins, Seth the Merchant would go all the way through 31st position. Ryan Manning, 32nd, Bryce Senesac, Alec Karen, Alex Monteferranti, Fimaiola, Dustin Lee, Daniel Roper, Steve Bonesteel, Adam Gilliland, Justin Fuller, Houston Hamer, and Trevor Perry would round out our 43 car field tonight. Before we start off, friends, final thoughts on what was yet another classic Talladega finish.
Classic Talladega finish for really a classic season that VIDANE has been having. Great racing all the way through. Points will start to get shaken up now as your points leader Ian Plash was wrecked on the final lap. But that's all going to be the next storyline going into Daytona and the nationwide cars next week. Evan?
Yeah, I've been impressed, really, with all the racing that these guys have had so far season, and again, it will continue in 1 week's time, once again, on LSRTV. So that does it here for tonight. On behalf of everybody at VIDANE Racing, President and Owner Paul Strickland Jr., Vice President Garland Meadows, and Director of Operations Ian Plash, and everybody at LSRTV, Executive Producer Laura Lawson, and Race Reporter P.D. Zeller, and myself, Evan Pasoko, alongside Rents Brown. That is it from the Talladega Superspeedway. Round 4 goes to Logan Crest. We will see you in 1 week's time for the CSTRA 175 at Daytona.